Nothing much really happened on this show. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, we did see Nick Aldez and Chelsea Green holding R-Truth's never mind. But nothing much really happened on this show. We got a cool return from woo woo woo. You know it. We got a cool return from Zack Ryder, and he's officially back. Maybe officially, maybe unofficially. But we did see Zack Ryder making his return, which is pretty cool. And besides that, though, we got a couple matches announced for the John Cena Last Time Is Now tournament, and that was basically that. Everything else on the show, it didn't really matter. It was insignificant. It didn't really lead too much. There was no new development. We did get a new member added on the men's war game team, but that was that. And we got a member removed from the women's war game team, which was Charlotte Flair. And Drew McIntyre got added to the men's war game team. So it's kind of like stuff did happen, but it didn't really matter. There was really no big moments, nothing too crazy. This was like a standard show, I want to say. Nothing too crazy, nothing too exciting. Like the main aspect I want to say was the John Cena Last Time Is Now tournament, the matches we got. That was probably the main focal point. But besides that, though, Cody Rhodes didn't really add much to the show for me. Neither did Sami Zayn or anyone else that was there, if I'm being honest. Both the men's and women's war game team, they were all there. They didn't really add much to the show. There was really no big story, no big development. It didn't really make the show or the PLE that's coming up any more exciting, if I'm being honest. So this was like a kind of bland show. It was kind of a boring show. We saw B-Fab facing off against Jade Cargill, which I'm sure not a single soul asked for or cared about. Neither did I. I didn't ask for it. I didn't care about it. So that was that. We saw Cody Rhodes facing off against Bronson Reed in a undisputed championship match. For whatever reason, it ended up ending in no contest, which meant that was basically for nothing. That was just a waste of time. So that didn't matter either. We saw the Ilya Dragunov Open Challenge match. That didn't really matter because we didn't think Axiom was going to win. So that was just a waste of time at that. So it's kind of weird, if I'm being honest, okay? Nothing much really happened. We got Sami Zayn announcing that he's medically clear. And we saw the MFTs having a big brawl against Shinsuke Nakamura, Rey Fenix, the Motor City Machine Guns like we saw last week. So we already saw that. I don't know what to say. This show was bland for me. It was a little bit boring. I feel like it could have been a whole lot better, especially with all the talent we had there. You're telling me we had both the men's and women's war game teams, and you could have come up with a match to involve them by any means, or any new rivals with them, any new segments or anything. Like, had all those superstars there and did absolutely nothing with them. Io Sky was there. Rhea Ripley was there. We had The Vision. We had the Braun Runs. We had Logan Paul. We had Drew McIntyre. We had Cody Rhodes. We had so many big name stars there, and this is a show you delivered. That was crazy to me. Anyways, though, so this video's not too long because it genuinely does need to be long. There's not much to talk about. We're just going to jump right into it. We're just going to jump right into this review, right into this breakdown. But before all that, though, as always, the quote of the day. Quote of the day: life won't always hand you the perfect plan, but it will hand you moments. Silly ones, loud ones, quiet ones, and the kind that make you snort, laugh when nobody's around. Collect them. They are the real treasure map guiding you forward. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of Lights. James chapter 1 verse 17. That is your quote of the day. Now let's get right into this video. Let's get right into this review. Let's get right into this breakdown. So we kicked off this episode of Smackdown with a in-ring promo from the women's war game team. So we basically had Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Charlotte cutting an in-ring promo, and that was that. And they came out. They didn't really say anything of importance, anything of significance, nothing really too major. They literally came out talking about nothing, if I'm being honest with you. But the main point of it was that Rhea Ripley and Io Sky came out talking about something. We don't care what the numbers are. We're going to show up. We're going to beat y'all. And we're going to get our revenge. And that was basically that. And then we had Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss coming out. And Charlotte Flair basically announced that she won't be part of the women's war game team because she can't stand Rhea Ripley. She doesn't like or respect Rhea Ripley. So she's taking herself out of the equation. They need to find a new superstar, a new competitor to fill in her spot because she's not going to be partaking in this nonsense. She doesn't like Rhea Ripley. She doesn't trust Rhea Ripley. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Moving on. And that was basically that. That's all they said. Like, that was the whole promo. And I'm like, okay, this was just a waste of time. And I'm almost positive that Charlotte Flair is going to end up agreeing to be part of the women's war game team. So this is all just for nothing. We're going to get it pretty soon where we're going to see Charlotte Flair being convinced by Alexa Bliss or something to be part of the team. And she's going to be like, okay. And then we're going to get a story of, can these two women coexist? I'm calling it, okay? But anyhow, after this, we went on to get our first match of the night. And the first match of the night was main event Jey Uso, Mr. 4 letters, 1 word, Yeet Man Jey Uso versus the A-lister, the Grand Slam champ, the 2-time Grand Slam champion, The Miz. And I'm not going to lie to you, for this match, it kind of bothered me. I didn't really like the results. So we're just going to cut to the chase. We're just going to talk about what I didn't like about it. Because the match itself, it was decent, it was solid, whatever. But the winner of the match really bothered me. So we had this match, and Jey Uso ended up beating The Miz fair and square, cleanly, no shenanigans, no nothing. And that really bothered me, because I was like, why are we having Jey Uso eliminating The Miz? Like, I can't even begin to express how much I disagree with this decision. Especially since Jey Uso basically has no story, no feud, no nothing against John Cena. Like, he did not need to advance here. We have Miz, who's basically a career-long rival to John Cena. The feuds they've had, the promos they cut against each other, the stories they have told with each other, against each other. And you're telling me you have Miz losing in the first round, basically, to Jey Uso. And like, even at that, nobody wants to see John Cena versus Jey Uso. It's not going to be John Cena versus Jey Uso, but even at that, it would be more interesting having Miz advance, having Miz in there. Like, I really did not like this decision. Jey Uso did not need to beat The Miz. He did not need to eliminate The Miz, especially since The Miz played such a big part in John Cena's career. Like, they've had some banger feuds, banger matches. And you're telling me you have The Miz eliminated for Jey Uso, who's not even going to go on to win the whole thing. Like, I know Miz probably wouldn't have won, but it would be cool having him there for a little bit longer, like a veteran there, and you could be like, maybe Miz actually might win. Maybe it might be Miz versus John Cena, even though maybe not a lot of people care about it, but it would still be a cool aspect of it. Right now, with Jey Uso advancing, nothing changes. Nobody thinks that Jey Uso is going to go further. Nobody thinks that Jey Uso is going to go all the way, so we don't really care. Or maybe it's just me. It could just be me. Maybe it's just me. But anyways, though, like I said, this was a terrible call. And at the end of the match, Jey Uso ended up hitting a spear and a splash on The Miz for the win. And that was that. And the match was decent, I guess. I just really didn't like the results. After this, though, we got a backstage segment involving Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman, the Oracle, and also Bronson Reed, as well as the GM Nick Aldis. So this basically served to set up the whole premise of Paul Heyman's looking for another member for the men's Wargame team, and also set up a match where it was going to be our main event, Cody Rhodes versus Bronson Reed for the Undisputed Championship for whatever reason. And that was that. Cody Rhodes came in all hot-headed, all impulsive, and then he just made the match for whatever reason. I don't know why, but that was that. But anyways, so after this, we went on to get our second match of the night, and it was the US Open Challenge match. It was Ilya Dragunov versus Axiom. And Tommaso Ciampa did want the opportunity. He did want the shot, but for whatever reason, Ilya Dragunov keeps ducking him. He says that Tommaso Ciampa is unworthy. Tommaso Ciampa is a donkey. Fill in the blank if you want. But yeah, that was basically the whole premise of it. And this was a pretty fun match, honestly, especially towards the end. And Axiom really popped off in this match. He put on a show. He was pulling off some cool sequences, some cool high-flying moves. I really did enjoy this match. It was really fun for the most part. And like I said, Axiom was really entertaining this match. And Dragunov definitely did his thing as well, but Axiom really stood out to me. But anyhow, at the end of the match, the best man ended up winning, and Ilya Dragunov ended up hitting his H-bomb finisher on Axiom to retain. And Ilya Dragunov is still your US champion. After this, we went on to get a Sami Zayn in-ring promo, and Sami Zayn basically came out to cut a promo saying that since he's been injured, he's been forced to sit back and watch Solo Sikoa and the MFTs beat down his friends, people he likes, people he respects. But that ends tonight, and Sami Zayn went on to call out Solo Sikoa, and he announced that he's officially medically cleared, and whatever Solo Sikoa wants to do, Sami Zayn's about it. So Solo Sikoa, step up if you want to. And then we ended up getting Solo Sikoa calling Sami Zayn selfish. He told Sami Zayn that Sami Zayn doesn't care about the guys in the back. He doesn't even care about the fans sitting out here. And Sami Zayn knows nothing about loyalty and family. And after all those fighting words were said and done, we got a big brawl involving the MFTs, Solo Sikoa, Shinsuke Nakamura, Motor City Machine Guns, and Rey Fenix. And we got a huge brawl breaking out, and the babyface group ended up standing tall, and that was that. Anyways, after this, we got our third match of the night, and it was LA Knight versus a surprise competitor. And like I said, I probably already spoiled it. It was Zack Ryder. Woo, woo, woo. You know it. It was Zack Ryder. And I want to say for our first surprise competitor, this was pretty cool, especially having John Cena call out Zack Ryder earlier in the year and Zack Ryder actually showing up. This was a cool moment, and the crowd really loved it. The crowd was really excited, so it was pretty fun. And I did find it pretty interesting that Zack Ryder came back with the name Zack Ryder instead of Matt Cardona, so I'm like, that's pretty interesting. I don't know if that was his decision, what it was, or just for the fans to remember who he was or something, but I found that pretty interesting. But anyways, though, the match itself was pretty cool. Nothing crazy, but both stars definitely did their thing. They were fun to watch regardless. I did like a few of the spots we got from Zack Ryder, especially him hitting the Rough Rider on LA Knight. That looked really good. And LA Knight hitting some off the top rope moves on Zack Ryder as well. They really had some nice chemistry. So that was a really cool match in my opinion. It was a really cool, solid match, and I did enjoy it for the most part. Even though it wasn't anything crazy. I think I just enjoyed the moment for what it was, and it made the match a lot more interesting to me. But anyhow, though, at the end of the match, unexpectedly enough, LA Knight was able to hit his finisher and pin Zack Ryder for the win. And LA Knight is advancing John Cena Last Time Is Now tournament, which is pretty cool. I'm glad that LA Knight won and he's advancing. I'm happy they're not just jobbing him out again and just like having him lose very early on. So I'm happy he's still in. I'm happy that the crowd is still behind him. So that was pretty cool. I'm happy for LA Knight, and I'm really happy for the moment. I know he's not going to go too much further, but like it was a pretty cool moment nonetheless. But anyways, after this, we got another backstage segment, and it was a big brawl between the Women's Survivor Series team, aka the War Games team. And we got a big brawl involving Nia Jax, Lash Legend, the Kabuki Warriors, and they were jumping Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Alexa Bliss, and it was a 4-on-3 attack. And the heel team absolutely dominated and destroyed the babyface team, so that was that, and we had the heel team standing tall. Anyways, so after this, we went on to get our fourth match of the night, and it was our Women's Championship match. We had The Storm, Jade Cargill versus B-Fab for the Women's Championship. And honestly, I'm going to be completely blunt and honest with you. There's nothing much to say about this match. Just as I previously suspected, nobody cared. The crowd didn't care at all. The crowd was dead silent. I didn't care. You didn't care. Nobody was excited for this. I don't know why this match is happening. It was so silly. Nobody wanted to see BFAB versus Jade Cargill for no reason, no story, no nothing. I'm like, why? Get a better rivalry. Get a better feud. Get a better match. This was boring. I'm not gonna lie to you. And Jade Cargill came out and she absolutely dominated woman-handled BFAB. So that was that. I don't even remember if BFAB got a hit in, if she got a punch in, if she got a kick in. She just got destroyed. So that was that. The match itself, like I said, it was boring. And at the end of the match, Jade Cargill ended up hitting the Jaded on BFAB to retain. And it seems like we might be moving on from this, and we might be getting Mia Chin versus Jade Cargill, which I'm like, not a single soul cares about this either. What are we doing here? Give us something meaningful, something worth watching. Nobody wants to see BFAB versus Jade Cargill. Nobody wants to see Mia Chin versus Jade Cargill. But anyways, after this, we went on to get 2 more matches confirmed for the John Cena Last Time Is Now tournament, which is pretty cool. So the first match we got confirmed was Carmelo Hayes versus Big Bronson Reed, the Ozilla, and I'm pretty sure that Carmelo Hayes is definitely going to win this, and he's definitely going to advance. They're going to job out Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed's obviously winning this, so whatever. After that, though, our second match is going to be Penta versus Finn Balor, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool matchup, but we've seen this countless times before. We've had Penta feuding against the Judgment Day for the past year at this point, so we've already seen this match countless times before, so it's whatever. If it was something new, something different, it would definitely be a lot more exciting, but you know what? They should have just did Carmelo Hayes versus Penta instead. That would have been a lot more interesting in my opinion, but whatever. Anyhow, after this, we went on to get our main event, and it was Bronson Reed versus Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed Championship. And this match itself was pretty short, and it even ended in no contest, so basically, it was just a waste of time. There was much to say about it, and nothing much to really see. It was a short match, and no contest finish means it didn't matter, so that was that. But at the end of the match, we ended up getting a huge brawl breaking out, and Cody Rhodes got jumped by Logan Paul, the Braun Bronze, and the new member of their War Games team, Drew McIntyre. And we did have the Usos coming out, but it was to no avail. The Usos got laid out as well, alongside Cody Rhodes. And Drew McIntyre is unsuspended, I guess. The heel team ended up celebrating, and I guess Drew McIntyre is unsuspended. I don't know what the story is here, but I thought he was suspended, and now he's back, and apparently he's part of the team, so he's unsuspended, and he's part of the War Game team, whatever. Doesn't really make too much sense, but I'm just gonna let it slide, because at least it's a little cool new member, I guess. I don't know. There's not much to say, like I said. But anyways, so that was your whole show, and that's how it ended. And overall, I'd probably rate it a solid 4 out of 10, maybe 4.5. This show wasn't anything crazy, like I said. It was kind of boring, in my opinion, for the most part. Kind of bland, nothing too crazy, nothing too major, besides the things I talked about at the beginning of the video. But anyways, though, thank you for showing up, thank you for hearing me out, and thank you for being here. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to. And like, comment, and subscribe if you choose to. As always, it's been a pleasure. I'm out.